The Hadaway couple was a fixture in Boone, North Carolina. Martha, 67, and George, 71, had lived in the small mountain town for over 30 years. According to town records, they had moved there after George's retirement from manufacturing in Charlotte, drawn to the quieter pace and natural beauty of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Martha had been a high school English teacher. Neighbors described them as active and outgoing despite their advancing age. The couple maintained a busy schedule of community activities, as documented in the Watauga County Senior Center's attendance logs. They had 3 adult children who lived in various parts of the country and 6 grandchildren, according to family statements provided to authorities. According to multiple witness accounts, the Hadaways were experienced hikers. Their names appeared regularly in the trail registers at various points throughout the Pisgah National Forest and Blue Ridge Parkway systems. Weather logs from the National Park Service indicated favorable conditions on May 3, 2020, the day the Hadaways embarked on what was meant to be a day hike on the Tanawa Trail, a popular 13.5-mile scenic path that runs parallel to the Blue Ridge Parkway. Temperature readings from nearby weather stations recorded highs of 68-degree Celsius with partial cloud cover and light winds of 5 to 7 mph. Precipitation probability was listed at less than 10%. The last confirmed sighting of Martha and George Hadaway occurred at 9:17 a.m. on May 3, 2020, when they signed the trail register at the Beacon Heights Overlook parking area, located at mile marker 3052 on the Blue Ridge Parkway. Their entry in the register book indicated their intended route, an expected return time of 4:30 p.m. that same day. Security camera footage from the Parkway Visitor Center, located 3.7 miles from their starting point, captured their silver 2018 Honda CR-V entering the parking lot at 8:53 a.m. Additional footage showed the couple preparing their day packs and checking their printed trail map before departing toward the trailhead. According to the initial missing persons report filed by their daughter, Susan Hadaway Wilson, on May 4, 2020, the couple had not returned to their residence by nightfall. The report indicates that Ms. Wilson, who had been visiting from Raleigh, became concerned when her parents did not return home for a planned dinner and did not answer their cell phones. Call records obtained from Verizon Wireless confirmed that both phones had last connected to cell towers near the Beacon Heights area between 9:22 a.m. and 11:45 a.m. on May 3rd, after which no further activity was recorded. Park rangers located the Hadaways' vehicle still parked at the Beacon Heights Overlook lot at 7:45 a.m. on May 4th. According to the incident report filed by Senior Park Ranger Thomas Lawson, the vehicle was properly parked and locked, with no signs of disturbance. Inside the vehicle, rangers found a jacket belonging to Martha Hadaway, a cooler containing bottled water and packaged snacks, and a printed itinerary of planned hikes for the coming week. The couple's identification, credit cards, and approximately $87 in cash remained in the glove compartment, suggesting they had not intended to be gone overnight or make purchases along the way. The National Park Service initiated search protocols at 8:30 a.m. on May 4th. The search operation was designated Case Number NPS 22-0504BR and coordinated through the Pisgah District Ranger Station. Initially, 8 rangers and 4 trained volunteers conducted a systematic sweep of the Tanawa Trail and connecting paths. By the afternoon of May 4th, the search had expanded to include 26 personnel, 3 canine units from the Watauga County Sheriff's Department, and a helicopter provided by the North Carolina State Highway Patrol. The search continued for 11 days, covering approximately 37.8 square miles of terrain, according to GPS tracking data from search team units. The operation utilized standard grid search patterns, radiating outward from the couple's last known position, with special attention to areas where hikers might seek shelter or assistance. Weather conditions during the search period were documented as generally favorable, though rangers noted in their reports that afternoon thunderstorms on May 6th and 7th temporarily halted aerial operations and reduced ground search efficiency. According to the official incident summary filed on May 15th, 2020, search teams found no significant physical evidence indicating the Hadaway's whereabouts or condition. 3 items were recovered and logged as potentially relevant. A water bottle matching the brand the couple was known to use, found approximately 2.3 miles from the Beacon Heights trailhead. A single hiking pole of the same model owned by George Hadaway, discovered in a ravine approximately 4.1 miles from the trailhead, and a prescription sunglasses case identified by family members as belonging to Martha Hadaway, located near a stream crossing 5.7 miles into the trail. DNA testing conducted by the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation confirmed Martha Hadaway's DNA on the sunglasses case. After exhausting standard search protocols without resolution, the active search was downgraded to investigative status on May 15, 2020. The case was transferred to Detective Marcus Reynolds of the Watauga County Sheriff's Department. Reynolds conducted follow-up interviews with family members, friends, and associates of the Hadaways. Financial records obtained through subpoena showed no unusual activity in the weeks preceding their disappearance. Their last credit card transaction was recorded at the Lowe's Foods grocery store in Boone on May 2nd, 2020, where they purchased trail snacks and bottled water, consistent with preparation for their planned hike. Detective Reynolds' case notes indicate that the investigation pursued several theories, including the possibility of voluntary disappearance, criminal activity, medical emergency, or accidental injury in a remote location. However, as stated in his 90-day case review, dated August 3, 2020, no compelling evidence has emerged to strongly support any single theory regarding the Hadaways' disappearance. Their financial stability, strong family connections, and lack of any known enemies or threatening situations make both voluntary disappearance and criminal victimization seem unlikely. The most probable scenario remains a hiking accident in terrain that was not adequately covered during the initial search operation. The investigation remained open but inactive, with periodic reviews as required by departmental policy. Missing persons bulletins with photographs and descriptions of the Hadaways were distributed throughout the southeastern United States and entered into the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, NamUs, database. According to NamUs records, no credible sightings were reported between May 2020 and April 2025. On April 27, 2025, nearly 5 years after the Hadaways' disappearance, the case took an unexpected turn. According to the incident report filed by seasonal park ranger Jasmine Rodriguez, she was conducting routine trail maintenance on a remote section of the Craggy Gardens Trail, located approximately 7.8 miles from where the Hadaways were last seen, when she observed what appeared to be man-made structures in a densely wooded area, approximately 230 yards off the maintained trail. The area was documented as rarely visited due to steep terrain and thick rhododendron growth that made access difficult. Ranger Rodriguez's report states that upon closer inspection, she discovered 2 rocking chairs constructed of woven branches and twine, positioned facing east toward the mountain view. The chairs were described as surprisingly well crafted and appeared to be designed for regular use. Upon approaching the chairs, Rodriguez observed what she initially believed to be oddly positioned hiking equipment placed on the seats. However, upon closer examination, she realized she was looking at human skeletal remains. The remains were positioned in a seated arrangement in each chair. According to the forensic analysis later conducted by Dr. Eleanor Chen of the North Carolina Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, the skeletal positioning indicated the bodies had decomposed while seated in the chairs, suggesting they had died in that position or been placed there shortly after death. The report noted that the remains showed advanced decomposition consistent with exposure to elements for an extended period, estimated at no less than 3 years and possibly as many as 5 years. Personal effects found with the remains included fragments of hiking apparel, 2 Timex wristwatches stopped at different times, 11:22 and 11:24, prescription eyeglasses matching Martha Hattaway's prescription, according to optometry records, and a denture plate consistent with dental records for George Hattaway. DNA samples extracted from the femoral bones confirmed the identities of both Martha and George Hattaway, as documented in the medical examiner's report dated May 12, 2025. The discovery site, designated by law enforcement as Scene Nornorm 2025 BRP 47, was approximately 3.7 miles from the established trail system in a densely wooded area not covered during the original search operation. Investigators documented a small clearing approximately 30 yards in diameter surrounding the chairs. The clearing appeared to have been deliberately maintained, with vegetation cut back to preserve the eastern view of the mountain vista. No structures other than the 2 chairs were present, though investigators noted a small arrangement of stones forming a rough circle approximately 4 feet in diameter, positioned between the chairs. The forensic examination conducted at the scene and later at the medical examiner's facility in Chapel Hill revealed several unusual details. According to Dr. Chen's report, both sets of remains showed no evidence of traumatic injury, gunshot wounds, or sharp force trauma. Toxicology tests performed on hair and bone samples were negative for common drugs and poisons, though the report noted that the advanced state of decomposition limited the reliability of such testing. The cause of death was officially listed as undetermined for both individuals, though the report suggested that exposure, hypothermia, or natural causes were the most likely explanations given the available evidence. The most puzzling aspect of the scene, as noted by multiple investigators, was the construction and positioning of the chairs. Forensic botanist Dr. Marcus Whitfield, consulted on the case, determined that the chairs had been constructed from living materials harvested on site. His analysis, included in the case file, stated, "The primary construction materials are branches from Rhododendron maximum and Kalmia latifolia, mountain laurel, species abundant in the immediate vicinity. Evidence of tool marks indicates the use of a serrated blade consistent with a pocket knife or multi-tool for cutting and shaping the materials. The binding material is handmade cordage created from the inner bark of Tilia americana, American basswood, which grows within 100 yards of the site." Dr. Whitfield's report continued. Most significantly, many of the branches used in the construction show evidence of having been harvested at different times, with some cuts appearing much older than others. This suggests the chairs were built incrementally over a period of weeks or months, not in a single session. The craftsmanship is exceptional, indicating previous experience with woodworking or extensive trial and error during construction. The case was reopened as a death investigation under the joint jurisdiction of the National Park Service and the Watauga County Sheriff's Department. Detective Reynolds, who had handled the original missing persons case, was reassigned as lead investigator. His case notes from May 2025 document the primary questions driving the investigation. 1. How and why did the Hataways travel so far from the established trail? 2. What circumstances led to their deaths? 3. Why and how were the chairs constructed? 4. Did the Hataways build the chairs themselves or were other individuals involved? A comprehensive search of the surrounding area was conducted between May 3rd and May 9th, 2025. According to the operation report, 42 personnel from various agencies methodically examined a 1.5-mile radius around the discovery site. The search yielded several additional items of interest, cataloged as evidence and transported to the FBI field office in Charlotte for analysis. Among the items recovered was a small waterproof container found buried 8 inches beneath the stone circle between the chairs. Inside the container, investigators discovered a journal containing 47 pages of handwritten entries. Handwriting analysis conducted by FBI specialist Andrea Morton confirmed that the writing matched known samples of Martha Hathaway's handwriting from personal correspondence provided by family members. The journal entries transcribed and included in the case file began with a date of May 3rd, 2020, the day of the Hathaways' disappearance. The first entry read, "We've made a terrible mistake. The path looked so clear, but now we can't find our way back to the main trail. G thinks we should keep moving east toward the parkway, but the terrain is becoming increasingly difficult. My phone has no signal. Getting dark soon. We'll try again tomorrow." Subsequent entries documented what appeared to be the couple's attempt to return to civilization after becoming disoriented. The entries from May 4th through May 7th described increasingly desperate efforts to navigate the rugged terrain, limited food and water supplies, and deteriorating weather conditions. On May 8th, Martha wrote, "G fell today. His ankle is badly swollen. We can't continue moving. Found a clearing with a beautiful view. We'll rest here and try to signal for help." Entries became more sporadic after May 10th, with Martha noting George's declining condition and their dwindling supplies. The tone of the writing gradually shifted from practical concerns about survival to more philosophical and eventually spiritual reflections. The final dated entry from May 17th, 2020 read, "G is very weak now. I don't think help is coming. We've decided to make peace with our situation. This view is magnificent. If this is to be our final resting place, we could do worse. G started gathering branches today. Says if we're going to wait, we might as well be comfortable." The remaining pages contained undated entries that described the construction of the chairs and the couple's acceptance of their fate. The final entry, which forensic analysis suggested was written with a different pen and possibly significantly later than the previous entries, simply stated, "The chairs are finished. We sit together and watch the sun rise. There is beauty in acceptance. Remember us as we are now, at peace with each other and the mountain." Detective Reynolds' investigation expanded to include interviews with experienced hikers, search and rescue personnel, and survival experts familiar with the Blue Ridge terrain. SAR coordinator James Holcomb, who had participated in the original 2020 search, provided a statement indicating that the area where the Hathaways were found was not included in the original search grid due to its extreme remoteness and the fact that it lay in the opposite direction from the couple's intended hiking route. The most likely scenario, Holcomb stated in his interview transcript, is that they became disoriented in an area where trail markings are sparse, possibly during a period of reduced visibility due to fog or rain. Once off-trail in that terrain, it's remarkably easy to become further disoriented, as you attempt to find your way back. The area where they were found is extremely isolated, with dense vegetation that would have muffled any calls for help. Even with our trained teams and equipment, the probability of detecting individuals in that specific location during the original search was unfortunately very low. The medical examiner's final report, completed on June 3, 2025, concluded that the most likely cause of death for both individuals was a combination of exposure, dehydration, and starvation. The report noted that George Hadaway's remains showed evidence of a healed ankle fracture, consistent with the injury described in the journal. Additional findings suggested that Martha had survived somewhat longer than George, possibly by several days or weeks, based on subtle differences in decomposition patterns and environmental effects on the remains. Family members were notified of the findings on June 4, 2025. According to the case summary, the Hadaway children requested that the chairs be preserved rather than destroyed, seeing them as a final creative act and testament to their parents' resilience and bond. After consultation with National Park Service officials and completion of the investigation, the request was granted. The chairs were carefully removed from the site, preserved by conservation specialists, and eventually displayed at the Blue Ridge Parkway Visitor Center as part of an exhibit on wilderness safety and survival, accompanied by a memorial plaque honoring the Hadaways. The case file was officially closed on August 15, 2025, with the cause of death listed as accidental for both Martha and George Hadaway. The investigation conclusion, authored by Detective Reynolds, stated, "All available evidence indicates that the Hadaways became lost after straying from marked trails, attempted unsuccessfully to find their way back to civilization, and eventually succumbed to environmental exposure and lack of supplies. The construction of the chairs appears to have been a final act of dignity and comfort in the face of their situation. No evidence of foul play, involvement of other parties, or suicide has been discovered." A subsequent review of search and rescue protocols was initiated by the National Park Service, resulting in expanded search parameters for future missing persons cases and the installation of additional trail markers and emergency location beacons at key points throughout the Blue Ridge Parkway Trail system. Additionally, the Hadaway family established a foundation in memory of Martha and George, dedicated to promoting hiking safety and supporting search and rescue operations in national parks. Visitors to the Blue Ridge Parkway Visitor Center often pause at the display containing the branch-woven rocking chairs. According to center staff, the exhibit has become one of the most viewed in the facility. A small plaque beside the chairs displays a quote from Martha's final journal entry: "There is beauty in acceptance. Remember us as we are now, at peace with each other and the mountain." The discovery of the Hadaways and their handcrafted chairs has become something of a local legend in the Blue Ridge community. Experienced hikers and park rangers sometimes report seeing what appears to be two figures seated in rocking chairs at sunset when looking toward the eastern ridges from certain vantage points along the Craggy Gardens Trail. Park officials attribute these sightings to tricks of light and shadow on the mountainside, particularly during the golden hour before dusk. The final report noted one unexplained detail that investigators were unable to resolve. Despite thorough examination of the site and surrounding area, no tools were ever recovered that could have been used to construct the intricate chairs. The only cutting implement found among the Hadaways' possessions was a small Swiss Army knife with a 2.5-inch blade, which experts deemed insufficient for the extensive cutting and shaping evident in the chair construction. How the elderly couple, weakened by exposure and limited supplies, managed to create such elaborate structures remains a subject of speculation among those familiar with the case.